Code Red, Bears Nation. Did you know the NFL just covered up a dirty hit that stole our win? I'm breaking down how a Ravens DB got away with one of the nastiest shots of the season. Until now, but that's not all. Our backfield is in full-blown emergency mode with hidden injuries that forced a desperate move from the GM. Are we really trusting ARB, who hasn't touched a regular season field in 3 years? And heads up, Joe Flacco's coming in hurt, but dangerous. Is a banged-up vet with nothing to lose even scarier? Austin Booker is back just in time to take advantage of that weakness. If we don't bring the heat today, this game slips away. Smash that subscribe button or miss the breakdown that's shaking Hollis Hall. Hit like if you demand justice for Chicago. The NFL just confirmed what every single one of us who watched that Baltimore game already knew. Marlon Humphrey got away with one of the dirtiest hits we've seen all season. $46,371. That's the massive fine they just slapped on the Ravens defensive back for that helmet-to-helmet shot on Olamide Zaccheaus in the fourth quarter. And you know what really ticks me off? Nobody did anything in the moment. Sean Smith's crew was right there, supposedly watching everything, and they let one of the most obvious violations you'll ever see on a football field slide. If the refs were doing their jobs right, we wouldn't be talking about record fines after the fact. Let me paint the exact picture for you. It's the fourth quarter. Bears are down 23-13. Zaccheaus catches a 4-yard pass near the sideline. It's an open field play. Our receiver's exposed, and here comes Humphrey with his helmet down. And bam, he nails him right in the chin or lower face mask. Zaccheaus' head snaps back like he just took an uppercut. You think that's clean football? You think that's what the NFL wants to promote with all their safety campaigns? I'll tell you right now, it's straight up hypocrisy. The league talks a big game about protecting players, about concussion protocols, about making the game safer, but when it really matters, the refs just stand there like nothing happened. And here's what really boils my blood: if they had thrown the flag right then, the Bears would have had the ball at Baltimore's 49-yard line, 49, with momentum, with a real shot to flip the entire game. Instead, we had to grind it out ourselves and settle for a field goal to make it 23-16. But wait, it gets worse. That $46,000 fine, it's the second biggest of the entire season. You know what the biggest one was? $57,222 for Jalen Carter spitting at Dak Prescott in Week 1. Think about that for a second. A hit that could have caused a serious concussion is worth almost the same as spitting on someone. Does that make sense to you? Because to me, it absolutely doesn't. We're talking about the physical safety of our players. Careers that can end in a heartbeat. Long-term consequences that go way beyond a Sunday afternoon. And here's the part no one's saying out loud, but we're all thinking, how many hits like this are getting missed every week? If this one was obvious enough to get the second biggest fine of the year, how many others are flying completely under the radar? I think we've got a systemic problem with officiating in this league, and as usual, the Bears are the ones paying the price. Look, I get it. Football's a contact sport. No one's asking to turn this into flag football. But there's a huge difference between a hard, clean tackle and lowering your helmet to target the head of a defenseless player. Humphrey knew exactly what he was doing. He's a vet, an all-pro, a guy who knows the rule book inside and out. And you know what else bugs me? For Humphrey, $46,000 probably means nothing. The guy makes millions a year. That fine is like a $20 parking ticket to the rest of us. It's a minor inconvenience, nothing more. No real consequence, no suspension, nothing that's gonna make him think twice next time. I'm telling you, the NFL needs to completely rethink its fine and penalty system. If they really want to protect players, the consequences have to hurt. There should be automatic suspensions for blatant hits like this. There needs to be a system where refs are held accountable for the calls they miss. Because what we've got right now clearly isn't working. And for Zaccheaus, who took that hit and kept playing, total respect. That's the kind of toughness that defines the Bears, that defines Chicago. You can hit us, you can cheat us, the refs can ignore us, but we get back up and keep fighting. That's Navy and Orange, baby. But the real question we all need to be asking is this: how much more are we gonna take? How many more illegal hits do our players have to absorb before the league actually does something meaningful? Because I think we're hitting a breaking point, and Chicago fans aren't gonna stay quiet much longer. If that got you fired up, wait till you hear this, because what Ryan Poles just did with the roster says way more than it looks like on the surface. The Bears just elevated Brady Brown from the practice squad right before the Bengals game. And I gotta ask, do you really think this is just a routine move? Let me tell you why this is a much bigger deal than most people realize. When a team has to call up a running back from the practice squad the day before a game, that tells me the injury situation is worse than they're letting on. D'Andre Swift is out, Roshan Johnson is out, and suddenly we're leaning on Kyle Monange and Travis Homer, who's basically a special teams guy. I think Poles is being smart here, but I'm also worried about what this says about our roster depth. Look, I love what Swift brings when he's healthy, but the guy's been dealing with nagging injuries for weeks, and now Johnson's out with a back issue. I gotta ask, how much of this is just bad luck? And how much is a deeper problem with our conditioning program or how we're managing workload? Brady Brown, that name probably doesn't ring a bell unless you were locked in during preseason. The guy had a solid showing in those warm-up games. Good enough to earn a spot on the practice squad. But here's the reality. Brown hasn't played a regular season snap in 3 years. Last time he was on the field in a real game was back in 2022 with the Raiders. And even then, it was just special teams in 6 games. You get what that means. We're about to hand meaningful carries to a guy who's basically been off the NFL radar for 3 seasons. Now, I'm not saying Brown can't do it. The talent's clearly there, but there's a huge difference between looking good against second and third stringers in preseason and producing against a regular season defense. And here's what's really got me thinking. How serious are Swift and Johnson's injuries, really? If Swift just needs a week to rest, great, smart load management. But if this is something longer term, we've got a real problem. Johnson's back injury especially worries me. Those things can linger and turn into season wreckers if not handled right. I'll say this, Poles made the right call bringing up Brown given the situation. But we shouldn't be in this spot to begin with. When you build a roster, you need contingencies for your contingencies. You can't be 2 injuries away from relying entirely on an undrafted rookie and a special teams vet. Monange's gonna get the bulk of the carries Sunday. That's obvious. The kid's flashed some real potential. He's got vision. He's got power. But is he ready to be the lead guy against the Cincinnati defense that, while not elite, knows how to attack inexperienced backs? I'm asking you, do you trust a rookie to carry the ground game for a full 4 quarters? And Homer, look, the guy's a solid pro, does his job on special teams. But he's not a 3-down back. Never has been, never will be. If we're in a spot where Homer's getting real touches, something's gone sideways. Here's what Brown needs to do Sunday. Hold up in pass protection, don't fumble. And if he gets a shot to make a play, take it. That's it. We don't need him to be Walter Payton. We just need him to be reliable and not cost us the game. But let me be clear, this situation exposes a weakness in our roster that other teams are gonna notice. The Packers see it, the Vikings see it, the Lions see it. When you hit November and December, when games really matter, you can't be pulling emergency call-ups from the practice squad every week. I think Swift's gonna be fine and this is just precaution. But Johnson's the one I'm more worried about. Back injuries for running backs are no joke, and if you don't manage them right, they can become chronic problems that derail an entire season. And here's the other thing no one's talking about. How does this affect Caleb Williams and the offense overall? When you don't have a reliable run game, when the defense knows you're gonna throw more than usual, everything gets harder. Protections get trickier, play action loses its punch, and you're putting more pressure on your rookie QB to make plays. I'm asking you, is it fair to put that on Caleb in week 9 of his rookie season? The kid's already got enough on his plate without having to worry about whether the run game's gonna show up or not. Look, I trust Poles. The guy's built a competitive roster since he got here. Made smart moves in free agency and the draft. But this running back situation needs to be addressed in the offseason. We can't go into 2026 with the same depth concerns at this position. Brown's gonna get his shot Sunday. Preseason showed he's got the tools. Now he's got to prove he can bring it when it counts. And I hope, for the sake of this team and our season, that he's ready for the moment. Now here's where things get really wild. And this is what's going to define our Sunday. Joe Flacco is starting against us. And the guy's coming in hurt but locked in. I'm asking you, should that make us feel better or worse about our chances? Let me be real with you. When I first heard Flacco had an AC joint sprain in his throwing shoulder, I thought, perfect, this just got easier, but then I started thinking. And honestly, a banged-up Joe Flacco might be more dangerous than a healthy one. Why? Because he's got nothing to lose. He's gonna go out there and leave it all on the field. That all-or-nothing mindset, that makes a QB unpredictable. Look at what Flacco did in Week 7 against the Steelers. The guy had just joined the Bengals 2 weeks earlier, barely knew the playbook, and still led them to an upset win over one of the AFC's top teams. That's not luck. That's veteran savvy. That's experience. That's a Super Bowl MVP who still knows how to win. But here's the thing, in Week 8 against the Jets, Flacco hurt that shoulder, and the Bengals lost 39-38. All week there's been talk about whether he'd play, or if Cincinnati would have to turn to Jake Browning, and let's be honest, Browning's been awful this year when he's had to step in for Burrow. Ian Rappaport reported Saturday that Flacco plans to start against us, but with a big caveat, no one knows how that shoulder's gonna hold up. They can be as optimistic as they want after Thursday's practice. But the truth is, an AC joint sprain in your throwing shoulder doesn't just disappear because you want it to. I'm telling you, the Bears have to take advantage of this. We need to do exactly what the Chargers did to Carson Wentz in Week 8, constant pressure. Don't let him get comfortable in the pocket. Make him second-guess every throw. If that shoulder's compromised, every hit he takes is gonna make him think twice about staying in the game. And here's the news that's got me hyped. Austin Booker is back. Our pass rusher, who led the entire preseason with 4 sacks, is finally making his regular season debut after dealing with that knee injury. Perfect timing. I think so. Can you imagine what Booker's feeling right now? The kid's been waiting all this time to show what he can do. And now he's facing a veteran QB with a bum shoulder. If I'm Booker, I'm licking my chops, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Flacco's no scrub. The guy's seen it all in this league, played in more playoff games than I can count, won a Super Bowl with one of the most legendary runs we've ever seen. He's not gonna get rattled just because we've got a fierce pass rush. In fact, that's probably exactly what he's expecting. Here's what worries me. Flacco is a deep ball artist. Even with a sore shoulder, the guy knows how to drop it in the bucket where only his receiver can get it. And Cincinnati's got weapons on the outside that can hurt us if we give them a chance. If our secondary slips up, even for a second, Flacco's gonna make us pay. I think the key to this game is keeping Flacco uncomfortable from the first snap. We can't let him find a rhythm, can't let him get confident in that pocket. Every time he lets it fly, he needs to be thinking about that shoulder, wondering if the next hit is the one that knocks him out. And here's the other thing, if we knock Flacco out of the game, who comes in? Jake Browning. And trust me, that's exactly what we want. Browning's shown time and again this season that he's not ready to be a starting QB in this league. If we can force Cincinnati to make that switch, this game is ours, but we can't get complacent. The Bengals aren't coming to Chicago to hand us a win. They've got talent, they've got a coaching staff that knows how to adjust, and they've got a quarterback in Flacco who, even hurt, is still dangerous. I'm asking you, how many times have we seen the Bears underestimate an opponent and end up losing a game we should have won? I've seen enough seasons of this team to know nothing's guaranteed. Every game has to be earned on the field, not on paper. Chicago's defense needs to come out with a killer mindset. Make Flacco feel every hit, every pressure, every uncomfortable moment. And the offense needs to capitalize, put points on the board early, force Cincinnati to play from behind, and make Flacco throw more than he probably wants to with that shoulder. I'm telling you, this is a game the Bears have to win. We're half a game out of the 7th seed in the NFC, just lost to Baltimore, and snapped a 4-game win streak. We can't afford to drop one at home to a Bengals team missing their starting QB and playing a backup who's not at 100%. Austin Booker needs to have a debut to remember. He needs to show why he led the preseason in sacks, why this team's been waiting for his return, and the rest of the defense needs to follow his lead. Play with that intensity and aggression that defines Chicago football. Flacco's gonna try to be the hero, try to gut it out and lead the Bengals to a win at Soldier Field. But I believe this Bears defense is ready to write a different story. We're ready to show Flacco and the rest of the league that Chicago isn't the place you come to play hurt and expect to walk out with a win. So there you have it, Bears family. 3 stories that could define not just this weekend, but the rest of our season. A record fine that exposes officiating incompetence and reminds us we're fighting more than just our opponents. An emergency practice squad call-up that shows the reality of injuries, but also the depth and readiness of our organization. And a banged-up veteran quarterback coming to Chicago, determined to prove he's still got something left in the tank. Let me ask you, do you think the fine for Humphrey was enough? Or does the NFL need to do more to protect our players? Do you trust Bridian Brown and Kyle Monange to fill the void left by Swift and Johnson? And are you ready to finally see Austin Booker make his debut and go hunting for Joe Flacco? I think Sunday's gonna be special. I think we're gonna see a hungry Chicago defense ready to prove why we're the monsters of the Midway. I think we're gonna see Caleb Williams take another step and show maturity beyond his years. And I think we're gonna remind the entire NFC why the Bears are a team nobody wants to face in the second half of the season, but I need you, the family of this channel, to be with us. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which of these 3 stories hit you the hardest? Which one do you think will have the biggest impact on Sunday's game? I want to hear your takes, your predictions, your concerns if you like this content. If you learned something new, if you feel more ready for Sunday's game, hit that like button right now. That like doesn't just help me, it helps more Bears fans find this content. Helps us grow as a community. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? This channel is your home for everything Chicago Bears, deep analysis, breaking news, unfiltered opinions, everything you need to stay locked in with our team. Subscribe now and hit that bell so you don't miss a single update. Because I guarantee you, tomorrow, after the game against Cincinnati, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. Whether we're celebrating a huge win or breaking down what went wrong, we'll be here together. Like the family we are, this is more than a YouTube channel, family. This is a community of passionate fans who live and breathe Navy and Orange, who've suffered through the tough seasons and are now ready to celebrate as this young, talented team finds its path to greatness. The Chicago Bears represent something bigger than football. They represent a working-class city, a city that never quits, a city that knows how to get back up after getting knocked down. And that's exactly what we're gonna do this Sunday at Soldier Field. Bear down, family. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget, in Chicago, we don't play. Da Bears!